Branson Perry said he was going to put the jumper cables away. That was over 20 years ago, and he never came back. His disappearance is a story defined by a terrifying simplicity. A quick walk across a yard that ended in an absolute vanishing. On an ordinary spring afternoon, a young man stepped out of his house for a minute and disappeared forever. There were no witnesses, no struggle, and no immediate answers. Tonight, we're covering one of the strangest disappearances you've never heard of. The haunting case of Branson Perry, and the chilling minute it all unraveled in the quiet town of Skidmore, Missouri. For what should have been a 10-minute chore, Branson walked out of his house and vanished. The date was April 11th, 2001, in the tiny rural town of Skidmore, Missouri. Branson Perry, just 20 years old at the time, was helping clean his father's house while his father was away in the hospital. Branson was not alone. Two men were outside working on his father's car, needing a battery jump. After the car was started, Branson mentioned he was simply going to put the jumper cables back in the shed located in the backyard. That was the last time anyone saw him. When he didn't return, the assumption was he had gone to visit a neighbor, but the house was left unlocked. The family van was untouched in the driveway, and all of his personal belongings, his ID, wallet, and money were still inside. Foul play is immediately suspected when a person simply walks away from their entire life. But no one knows exactly what happened in the minutes after he stepped into the yard with those jumper cables. It's the perfect crime, a disappearance with no observable event. But the story doesn't end with his disappearance. It gets stranger. The missing jumper cables was a bizarre and central detail. They were gone at first, then they suddenly came back. A day later, Branson's grandmother arrived at the house. Branson wasn't answering calls, and the house was empty. The investigation began immediately, focusing on the last item he carried, the jumper cables. They were gone from the shed, confirming he had at least made it that far. Then, 2 weeks later, an almost impossible thing happened. The jumper cables mysteriously reappeared in the shed. They were simply there again. No one could explain how they got there. There were no fingerprints, no security footage, and no logical reason for them to return. It was as if someone was deliberately toying with the investigation, sending a cold, calculated message to the people searching for him. The return of those cables proved that someone had been back to the scene of his vanishing. And then, police found something even darker, or rather, someone. Years after Branson vanished, hope flared with a suspect. Already under investigation for unrelated charges, allegedly confessed, but there still hasn't been an arrest. A man later investigated for child exploitation charges allegedly told authorities he knew exactly what happened to Branson. He claimed the body was disposed of in a remote location, giving chilling yet vague details. The suspect even had disturbing writing and materials that police felt provided potential leads to the case, reinforcing the idea of a deeply disturbed individual. However, the man refused to cooperate further. Without a body or physical evidence directly linking him to his disappearance, no charges were ever filed. Branson's case remains classified as a missing persons case. Unsolved and without a confirmed suspect or known cause of death, the man who may hold the key to the entire mystery still walks free to this day. So what does that mean now, over 2 decades later? Because it wasn't just a disappearance, it was a vanishing without logic. Skidmore, Missouri is already known for tragic and unsolved cases, lending Branson's disappearance an even darker resonance within the community. But Branson's case is one of the most baffling because the last known moments were so domestic, so ordinary. The case has been featured in news reports, true crime forums, and documentaries across the country. Yet, no resolution has ever come. While new forensic tools in 2025 could theoretically bring answers by testing old evidence, the main clues, such as the missing cables, the shed, and Branson's final steps, will remain completely unexplained. It's a mystery defined by what was left behind and what was not. How can someone disappear in daylight without a trace? Branson Perry walked into his backyard to return a pair of jumper cables and was never seen again. The details, the unlocked house, the untouched car, and the strange, silent return of the only physical object he carried turned this case from a tragedy into a nightmare of pure ambiguity. His disappearance forces us to confront the terrifying reality that in just a moment, on an ordinary day, anyone can simply vanish. His family still fights for answers, hoping that someone, somewhere, will connect the final piece of the puzzle. Do you believe the suspect who confessed? Was this a crime of opportunity or something premeditated? The cables are back, but Branson Perry is still missing. Which case should I cover next? Comment below, like, subscribe, and follow for the next deep dive. Thanks for watching.